Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to the Every Game Ever podcast, number 3. My name's ASF. I'm here, as ever, with the Scrivener.
Hey.
And this is the show where we tell the tale of one man, specifically you, Scriv, in your attempt to play every video game in existence on all platforms and have ever will or have existed.
The very definition of man.
Every game ever and of man. So let's get into it. Start off with Mortal Kombat from 1992, 6.438. What platform did you play this on? Because this came out on everything.
This is one of the few I played it. I played the arcade one for the review.
Sure.
But I played the others just for historical purposes.
That's fair. You want to play the raw arcade experience if possible.
Yeah,
it's the experience that most people remember.
Even to this day.
Yeah.
And you can get that version on PSN. Most of the early Mortal Kombats you can get on PSN.
Yeah. There's an Ultimate Collection or something that I think has 1, 2, and 3 on it.
Yeah, I've even got the arcade stick. It's a replica off either 1 or 2. I got it as a gift. My wife got it for me years ago. It's really cool.
Good. So how is Mortal Kombat then?
Well, what do you remember? Frame this in your generation.
This came out the year I was born.
Okay.
So I
happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thanks. It came out the year I was born, so I didn't play it until way after. The first time I played Mortal Kombat was on my brother's Game Gear, if you remember that console.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, that was the first time I played Mortal Kombat, and it was it didn't really bother me about the whole violence thing. I was a kid, I didn't know about the blood or the violence or the whole outcry that came off of that game. But yeah, I liked it. It was a fighting game that was different to the other fighting games I played because it was just the inputs were easier because it's just down forward or down back or forward back or whatever.
Yeah,
as opposed to having to do weird shapes or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. That's kind of my context for Mortal Kombat.
It was a really big deal. It's I don't know where it would rank the recurring game controversy, but it was a pretty huge deal then. It was maybe the most important of those. I guess with school shootings and stuff, there's more of a spotlight, but
it was from the context I could tell looking back on it, there was a lot of outcry about the whole violence in video games thing because of this game.
Yeah, it was super sensational. This was sort of the game that led that parade, or unwittingly started that parade. As far as a game, it gets a lot of points for setting itself apart from its peers. Street Fighter 2 was the obvious competition at the time. Street Fighter 2 is hand-drawn. It's very cartoon looking.
Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat, they went with digitized people.
Actors.
Yeah, people that look like people. And that's really, I think, what kicked off that violence crap, is because when it sort of looks like real people.
Yeah, when it looks like a person, then it's weird when you punch their head off into acid or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. It's a historical game. Midway, the pinball people, they were associated with Bally and Williams and all that. They did the dev. Ed Boon and John Tobias were the figureheads. They were fairly public. And I think Acclaim did the ports, and it cracks me up. This is the weirdest thing about these ports. The SNES one was almost universally reviewed lower.
Sure.
The Genesis one got the blood. The SNES one did not. It was censored.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's so much more of a faithful port if you go back and play. The Genesis one...
it feels better?
Yeah, absolutely. It feels really close to the arcade version. The Genesis, it really exposes the Genesis lack of firepower compared to the SNES.
Yeah.
So
it was a
people
whole
love the Genesis one because it had the violence, but it's not even close to as quality of the game.
Yeah, it's a way worse game.
Yeah, it's just super. It just shows you how intrinsic to the game's identity that blood was.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, you say the pinball people, Ed Boon helped create my favorite pinball table, which is Black Knight 2000. If anybody has ever played that, it's a great table.
I'm sure Script has.
But yeah, so next game, Dragon's Crown from 2013, 7.375. This was what, PS3?
I think it was an exclusive, yeah. It may have ended up on PC later, I don't know.
the side-scrolling brawler with the girls with the big anime boobs, right? That's the only thing I remember about it, is everybody was talking about how big the boobs were in that game.
That's all people talked about. That is this game's legacy. And that's a risk you take, I guess. Vanillaware developed it. They're the Odin Sphere people, I think.
Yeah, Odin Sphere's great. I love Odin Sphere.
Atlas published it.
Yep.
And it was like Gauntlet, it's like the 4 multiplayer.
Side-scroller, hack and slash.
Yeah, but it has RPG stuff where you make your character better and get items. Yeah. I really enjoyed it while I could. It really made for good couch co-op.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's not a lot of couch co-op these days, so that was cool. And it looked unique.
It did certainly have a good, unique, like, cartoon style. Like, it was drawn individually. I've never really seen anything styled like it before.
Yeah, it turned out really pretty.
Other than Odin Sphere, I guess Odin Sphere looked like it, but
the biggest flaw it had, it was just too repetitive. I don't know how many levels it had. It was one of these, like, go through the whole game, realize you have to go through again on a harder mode kind of thing. It wasn't like it was super padded. They didn't have enough levels, but other than that, it was fun.
Was it not super grindy as well? Like, you weren't doing things that were too different. Like, all you were doing was just
super grindy.
I remember people talking about this at the time.
Which is why it worked best as couch co-op, because you could shoot the shit while you did stuff,
hang out and do whatever.
That's
fair.
It was a good little game. It's just it had some glaring problems. If you really, I can't speak for everybody, but if you're not into that over the top caricature aesthetic they went for, like, I could see how some people would be, as they were, would be annoyed.
Yeah, a lot of people were turned off to that thing because of the style of it.
Yeah, but hey,
can't
not everything's for everybody. So it didn't bother me. I like that extreme aesthetic, and the guys, it was pretty universal. Like, it wasn't.
The guys had like huge chests.
Yeah, they were jacked and ridiculous looking, and screenshots for this game as a whole are very valuable.
Yeah. So next, The Simpsons arcade game from 1991.
Another popular arcade cabinet
on the scale. Yeah, The Simpsons. That's the 6-player one, right? Is that or was that X-Men? I can't remember.
X-Men. I think this one stuck to 4.
Okay, sure. Oh, no, I was 4-player. I was wrong, because it's... Yeah, the other 2 people are, like, round the side of the cabinet, I remember.
Yeah.
Simpsons and X-Men with the 4-player one.
This thing made a lot of money. This was a really successful cab.
Yeah.
It's, the issue it has in the present is that this machine came about in 91. The Simpsons was still super new, okay?
Right.
So, if you play the game today, there are inside jokes, there are little nods to things in the game, or on the show, rather, but it's the first 2 seasons, which are virtually completely forgotten. There are 30 years worth of episodes that aren't represented anywhere in this game anymore.
Yeah,
so
because it couldn't be.
Yeah, it was before the show really became the show and became cultural. So it's dated within its own property. So what it winds up being is really flavorless, very by the numbers, tons of the same enemy clone. At this point, it's not even a recommendation for me on just the, hey, remember this level? Like, it's really a joyless exercise to get through this game.
Jeez. It was really successful at the whole swallowing quarters thing as well, right? Was it not, like,
oh god, yes.
Yeah.
Dude, motherfucker, if you're Marge slung that vacuum, and it was pretty good. And if you get to, like, the boss, and you're playing with 3 other people, it was an icebreaker in arcades. Like, you'd end up playing with strangers, like the way you would an early online game or something. Like, 1 slot available, jump in, like somebody be Lisa, whatever.
Like when you'd meet people in the early days of, like, Guild Wars or, like, World of Warcraft or whatever.
Hell yeah. Just playing with strangers. It's really cool. It's kind of in the States that's lost, but I presume in Japan, where arcades are still viable, that still happens.
But I think a lot of those arcades are purely dedicated to, like, fighting games, so it's not so much like a, hey, you still will be like, hey, jump in, but you're not, like, cooperating for anything.
Right.
It's just...
Yeah. But yeah, people,
beat down.
You couldn't walk away if you had your 3 teammates and the boss is almost dead, and you look down and you got 50 cents left. It's going in the Simpsons machine. You got to be there for it.
Can't let it down.
Yeah. So it made a ton of money.
Totally makes sense. So next we have Home Improvement from 1994, 2.062. This was NES, right?
It was SNES.
SNES. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
I have only seen like footage of this game from like YouTube and stuff like that. It looks horrific.
It's not good.
Pretty terrible.
It's nonsensical. There is a giant subset of SNES filler, just a ton of it, where they took.
Well, this SNES was so popular. It's like PS2 era where it was so popular that you could just like shovel stuff onto it.
Yeah, the shovelware on SNES is endless. It's what you'd expect. It's an inexplicable game, has no right to exist. Like, it would be so hard.
Is the theme song like a digitized version of the theme song from the show?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, it's been, I don't know what it's been, 10 months since I spent. I probably played it an hour, which was more than it deserved. Right but I'm a man of my word here.
Yeah, you've got to play everything. That's
so
really fair.
The only thing
does he do a digitized version of the grunt? Does he do the grunt?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good. Okay.
You got to.
You got to do the grunt.
That's the whole fucking premise. Like, without that, you may as well not call it Home Improvement. But if you look in the Every Game Ever episode, there's a spot on this game where Tim shoots his drill gun or whatever, and it makes a sound. Right. That's actually my dog dropping a bone. It just lined up perfectly, so I left it in. It's really fun.
That's good. That's a good inside reference.
Yeah. 5 guys programmed this, by the way. This was done by 5 people.
I'm sure. It looks like a pile of shit. So there totally is a SNES version of the Home Improvement speed, and it is fucking garbage.
Power Tool Pursuit. I left that out earlier. That's the official title.
Great. Awesome. Doesn't help it any. Let's move on. Daytona USA from 1984, 6.934. What platform was this again? I can't remember.
I arcaded it. Yep.
Daytona USA is awesome. I love Daytona USA.
It's a landmark game.
Fucking Rolling Start. What a great game.
Yep. Ridiculous Sega music.
Oh, the music's so good. I love that music.
So
it's great.
Daytona USA, it came out in 1994. It was, I didn't mean for this to be an ongoing theme here, but this is the third massive arcade success in this episode.
Yeah.
And it's one of the last great arcade stories in the US market, honestly, because these things hung around forever. You can still find.
Oh yeah, I can find Daytona USA cabinets in Scotland. Like it was a big deal. Yeah,
They made a ton. They made a ton of money, and the way they did it was they took. I need to do some research for this. I think Outrun, the game Outrun, was the first arcade game that let you sit down as if you were in a car. I
believe that. Yeah,
I've got a lot of great info about Outrun. I'll talk about some other time when we do Outrun.
Yeah.
It was the first, and Daytona USA took the Outrun concept and moved it to like the big arcade birthday party with your friends, everybody having a beer, to where you could locally race in a car with 7 other people, usually your friends. And that's just a really cool idea, a really cool experience. Yeah. And it was very unmatched in arcades for a long time. So they made a ton of money.
Yeah. That's totally fair. Like they nailed that sort of idea in arcades of just getting together with a group of people.
It had a lot of ports too. Saturn port was awful. Oh, yeah. The Saturn port did not have multiplayer.
Ooh, that's killer.
Think about that.
Yeah, that's pretty killer. I'll just never forget the goddamn music. Like the first level where it's the whole rolling start thing, and it just kicks in with like heavy drums and like not ska guitars, but like kind of that sort of like overdriven weird guitar music.
It has so much
never
energy.
Ends. It just keeps. Yeah, exactly. It never ends. It just keeps going. All it does is just follow you throughout this whole race. It's like high energy, high speed. It just goes perfectly for what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's got. usually energy has to be edgy in games. Like they want metal, like they mistake volume for energy. But Sega managed to do it with a very awkward, cheesy, quirky way, but that's also very endearing.
Yeah. So next is an interesting one, actually. So Final Fantasy IX from 2000. 9.156. I think this is the highest rated thing we've talked about. Yeah.
Yeah. I believe on the
so.
cast, for sure.
On the PS1, there are various ports of it on other platforms, but I'm assuming you played the PS1 version.
I played the Steam one.
Oh, okay, sure.
I mean, I have played the PS1, but for this, I played the Steam one.
So yeah, but it's going to be interesting to talk about Final Fantasy IX to try and say things that already haven't been said about this game, but yeah, do you want to go ahead and talk about how much you like Final Fantasy IX?
I didn't play another game between when I started it and finished it. I think I did this one in 8 days.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah, playing. I think I finished with 60. I remember I averaged 7 or 8 hours a day, and that was during work week. Like I wasn't on vacation. I just couldn't stop. I was so enamored with how carefree the game was. Final Fantasy 6, 7, 8, leading up to this, had prepared me to have a cause, to be really serious and dark in places. And Final Fantasy 9 it doesn't do that. So you don't get tired doing it. Like it's like watching a Disney epic that's better written. Kind of. It gets really dark in places. Like one of the major themes of that entire game is about like existence and like what happens after you die and all that. Like there are some heavy themes in that game. Like Vivi has the whole thing of his entire race gets genocided and Kuja's doing the entire thing because he's afraid of dying and wants to try and find somewhere where he can live forever and all. Like there are dark themes. You're right in that it's like it starts off and it's just like, oh, this like ragtag acting troupe are just putting on this show to try and steal the princess and all that stuff. But it ramps towards the end to some pretty like heavy themes. Sure. Well, it's not empty. No, it's not. It's got those themes and it's got those philosophies and those questions. But every time that happens, there's a trust fall involved. Every time Vivi questions who he is and whatever, everybody else talks him back into himself. And the same thing happens with Zidane during his self-crisis and the famous and great "You're Not Alone" battles. Yes. That it has such an aura of hope even in this stuff. I don't know, it's just the most endearing video game you could ever hope to play. It just never became exhausting. Fair. Yeah. It is a really good, like even on its own, like even the like twists on JRPG mechanics and stuff like that it does are very good. And the music's incredible. Of course the music's incredible. It's a Final Fantasy game, but it's a really cool little thing. It's one that I have not played in a long time. Like it's the only Final Fantasy game that I've not gone back to in recent years and like played at least some of, because like so I came into Final Fantasy at 7, like a lot of people did, and did 7, 8, and then when 9 came along, I played it and was like, this isn't like 7 or 8 because it's not like near future with like guns and like cool swords and stuff like that. It's very much traditional. And it's like, I don't know if I'm into this. Stopped playing it. Played 10. Then went back to playing 6, and then like as I got older and started appreciating it more and went back and played through all of them, I played more of 9 and realized it's a very, very solid, competent JRPG, but I've just not played it in like must be like 10 years or something like that now. Yeah. I mean it'd probably been that long for me. It was absolutely intoxicating. It was paced well. The characters felt fantastical. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're all I know your protagonist has a tail. He's sort of a primate rogue fellow, and it's just it looked like it was just a fun story to bring to life. It wasn't trying to send messages. Yeah, it wasn't trying to bring you down. It was pure joy. It was more storybook than anything. Yeah. and it just didn't try too hard, and that went a long way. When you're that much of an expert on your craft, and Square at this time was, they just had it. I'd be astonished if in our lifetime there is a game from this franchise that is this clean and this well put together.
The whole idea of 9 was like a sense of purpose in Square, because they'd done 6, 7, and 8 for all these like future ones, and the director wanted to like go back and do the more like grounded in Eastern medieval style as opposed to like the future stuff.
Yeah,
so he wanted to go back and do it like it was. Yeah, wanted to go back and style it more like resource. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And so you had this clear vision, and you can see it in the final product. Like it's super clean, it's super well made. Like it's quite clearly coming from a position of, no, we have an idea, we have a vision, we know what we're doing. It's impressive. Like it's a masterful video game. Yep. Moving on to Overblood from 1996.
See, now Overblood not so much.
3.499. Yeah, 3.499 for PS1. I have no idea what this game is, so
it's a goofy one. Okay, so in the mid-90s, when the PS1 was first getting its footing, a lot of developers were doing games with really primitive 3D. Very polygonal, origami, ugly as sin 3D. This game is like the textbook example of that, because it had horror elements. It was like it was sort of point-and-click adventure, but it had like horror elements to it. So you wound up with a lot of quote-unquote jump scares with these ridiculous polygons trying to appear as monsters and moving in these really basic ways, and it just wound up being very sad in hindsight. It's really shitty. It looks absurd. It was done by a company called River Hill Soft, and they went out in 2000. So, didn't make it
through. It's a shame. I mean, like, I guess people have to be the experimenters and the innovators and stuff, but problem with doing experimentation on early processes is that it kind of looks like crap. So it's not. Yeah, there's not really a lot else to say about Overblood, is there?
It's better than D. I'll give it that.
That's fair. That's not difficult. So move on to Hook from 1982. 3.938 for what platform? I don't even know. SNES. Okay. Yeah. So this is based on the film Hook, I imagine.
More or less, yeah.
Sure.
10 level, 8 level, whatever. I think it had 10 levels, just more SNES filler. But as far as filler goes, it wasn't that bad.
Sure. But it was just movie tie-in.
Yeah.
This platformer.
Cashing in a little bit. There's really nothing to say about it.
Nothing to say about it. Okay, filler. Fair enough.
Filler.
Super Girls and Ghosts. Filler. Super Girls and Ghosts, 1981.
Fuck this game. Fuck it.
Obviously from the SNES, because it has the word super in the title.
That's right.
Yeah, so fuck this game. Is that?
It's celebrated for being really hard.
Yep. That's the original Girls and Ghosts was. But.
Yep. The premise is rescue the princess, so no points there.
Yep.
It's kind of got an early survival horror thing going on, but not really. Ultimately, this is a game that's hard for hard's sake.
Sure.
And it gets some credit as just because of that. People are like, man, you remember that game? That game was so hard. But they don't really tell a good story. The experience is not rewarding. You know what I mean? It's like going to get a driver's license or something. Like, the act of going there, waiting all day, and putting yourself through misery. Like, if you make it through that doesn't validate the experience. Like, it still sucked. Yeah. And this is a game where God knows I didn't do it, but if you get to the end, it just makes you do the whole game over like one more time. Like, it's just smart assery. Yeah, it's stupid. It's really juvenile, and
that's kind of like early design in this thing. Is just like, do it again. That'll extend lifetime. And
it's so absurd.
Yeah.
So I didn't like this game.
That's fair. I mean, the score shows it. That's perfectly fair.
Yeah. Tedious as hell.
lastly, we have Bayonetta from 2010, 7.938. This came out on a bunch of different platforms, so I don't know which one you played it on.
PS3.
Ooh, so you've played the worst version of it then.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
It's the original.
So yeah,
or did it come?
it was PS3 and Xbox from what I remember, but it was just there was a lot of complaints at the time of the PS3 version because it had a really shit frame rate and
I'm sure they've patched it in
shit.
8 years since.
Yeah. So yeah, on you go. This is.
I mean, what do you think of this game?
I mean, so I played through it recently because it came out on Switch. So I'd never had the opportunity to play 2, and 2 came out and it was bundled with 1. So I was like, I'll play through 1 again before I get to 2. I still really like it. I think it's really cool. It's got a really unique sort of style and mentality around it. It's kind of that, it does have that overly sexualized thing, but it's not like, it's not perverted. It's not, it doesn't like, it throws it in your face, but it's not doing it in a kind of seedy look at her tits style way.
Yeah.
It's just, it just sort of uses it as,
this whole game is thrown in your face, so
it's a very big kind of out there game, but it doesn't like, it's not doing it for that effect. It's kind of, it all works in the way that the world works.
Yeah.
The combat is fantastic. I think the combo system is stuff, and I'm a big fan of character action games and stuff, and I really like the combo system in this is really great. The building up of your magic that can lead into like torture kills is really cool because it gives you this kind of like build a resource, execute on it style thing, which is so popular in a lot of video games just because it's like minorly satisfying every time you do it. The dodging mechanics are great, which time's a really smart, clever system of risk reward in a genre that was kind of missing that sort of thing, that brought it forth and was a great idea. The only thing that I found about Bayonetta 1 is that it's like, it's really difficult for seemingly no reason. Like there are a lot of moments where it will just kick your ass for like no purpose other than to just make you learn how to do the fight. 2 is a lot better than that. 2 balances its difficulty out way better through a bunch of clever stuff that I'll talk to when we get to 2. But I did really like Bayonetta 1. It kind of stuck out in my mind. And it was good playing it on a platform where the frame rate didn't go to like 10 or something like that, whatever it was on the PS3.
I don't remember having a lot of trouble with it, so I don't know if it's improved. I only finally played it for this, and that was probably late 2016, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So I played it much later than most, and I remember I love the character design, and I'm really into the over-the-top aesthetic stuff. So it's like the super visually busy game. And so, I mean, that's what the genre is for. But it's all cinematics and grandiose environment and all that stuff. Like spoilers for anybody listening, but I'm going to talk about this. Like the end of that game is you kicking God into the sun. Like it goes from like what that game starts as to you literally kicking God into the sun. That's progression.
And it does literally every step of progression in between that, getting progressively more insane. Yeah, it's great.
I like the shop too, the upgrade shop.
Yeah,
cool style. The aesthetic's great.
Yeah.
My biggest complaint with this game is the plot was needlessly convoluted. I could not follow what the fuck was going on.
Completely nonsensical.
Yeah, like if they could put this framework in like a coherent plot, this game would have been something. But
you play Bayonetta for the spectacle, not for the clever writing or any of that stuff. Yeah, you have to because that's all there is. So that's all the games we have on the list. So let's get to mailbag stuff. If you have any questions prepared, we can answer
mailbag. We open up the old mailbag. I got a new mouse. I love it.
That's good.
Love it. All right. Our good friend Dammit Doll, my Dragon's Crown partner in crime, asks, which score surprised you the most after playing the game, regardless of what you expected when going in?
Which score? Oh, score for game, right?
Yeah, which score surprised the most after playing the game?
Because like you always say that the scores are more like there is a formula to it that doesn't really account for your personal preference over it.
Yeah.
So
maybe that first question. Zelda 2, maybe Zelda 2.
Oh yeah, you ended up really liking that game.
Yeah, I was super. Well, I mean, like if I put it in right now and played it, it would annoy the hell out of me. But when I sat down, made myself play it, found out about all the mechanics it had, it got a pretty good score. I think. Let me pull up the index here. We'll get a good solid answer. Because I'm sure there was one that I'm not thinking of that I was just like, there's a game called Bad Mojo. I don't know what episode it was on.
Yeah.
But you play as a roach, and it's like from like 1994 or 5. Sure. And it got a 7.5, which is a lot better than a lot of famous games. And Bad Mojo is not famous. So that's a big one.
That was pretty shocking, yeah.
Yeah. Wave Race 64 got higher than I would have expected. Because, it's fundamentally just a racing game, you know?
Yeah, it's just jet skis. I'll say that the score for Final Fantasy IX, like, I and talking to you while you were playing it, like, you were gushing all over that game while you were playing it and stuff, but I didn't quite realize how high it would go. Like, it was quite shocking to me when it was like, Christ, it's like 9.2. Like, that's insane. Especially on like such a harshly graded thing that this is. Like, getting to that 9, that like over 9 level was quite impressive to me.
Hey man, great games.
Yeah.
We don't give out participation awards.
No.
All right, here's a good question. This one's for you and me.
Okay.
Elric asks, who is your favorite waifu from the games every game ever has played so far?
Well, I mean, like, you've played like a Persona, you've played like multiple Persona games and stuff like that, and that's all those games are. So
Persona 4 and 5 have both been on here.
Yeah, so you've got like Mikoto from 5, and
that's a good one.
All of them from 4, and like Bayonetta's great, and
I like Maria from Symphony of the Night. That's pretty good. Yeah,
that's a pretty good one. There's that. What's the name of the spunky elf chick from Dragon Age Inquisition? I can't remember
Sarah.
her name. Sarah, that's the one. She's great. I love Sarah.
I like Josephine, the ambassador.
She's also very good.
Yeah.
She's very much not into romancing with you. She's just very like, oh, come on, like this isn't great. She's got a great.
They got great options on this thing.
Yeah, there's so many good options in the. You've got all the women from Mortal Kombat.
So Tally might be my vote. Tally Zora.
Yeah, that's
Overwatch.
That's
you could have an Overwatch.
Yeah,
Shandi from Saints Row, Aloy.
Several good options that we have.
Man, this could go on
forever.
Tally's
a good one. Like, Tally's a solid choice.
Yeah. A lot of waifus. And only more to come. Yeah. And then a few questions from our good friend Obase Celestia. What were some of the most fun or best made levels from every game ever so far?
This distinctive level creation.
I would say every single part of the first 2 acts of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, that's fair. Like the village and
village into the castle,
bridges across the cliffs. Yeah, the castle. Right.
It loses me at the like action military base at the end.
That's fair. Yeah. That's probably understandable. But that's a good choice.
Storm Eagle from Mega Man X.
That's good.
Mega Man X, you could pick any of them.
There's a lot of good levels in there.
Yeah. Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 has the second main area. It's called the Undead Settlement. That would be up there for me. Because it was on my mind, the casino level from Persona 5, I think is fantastic. I think it's a really well designed level. Yep. Fun as hell.
And keep it with that in Persona 4, the dungeon that is the video game one. That's like the maze.
Oh, yeah.
That's very good as well.
Kefka's Tower.
Oh, Kefka's Tower
in
is
FF6.
great. Yeah.
Kefka's Tower might be my favorite SNES level of any kind.
Yeah, and it ends in one of the best boss fights. So it's a fantastic bit of design. Yeah, that's fair.
Anne Orlando is difficult, but I appreciate the moment. Dark Souls 1 has quite a few levels I like from an aesthetic perspective, if not a complete development perspective.
Yeah.
Lots of good levels.
That's true.
Oh, one more. I have to mention one more. So in Dishonored, I think it's called the Cat's Cradle. It's a brothel.
Oh, the brothel.
It's like the second main area in Dishonored.
It's the second assassination in that game.
I have never
super good level.
Replayed a level so many times for fun than that level.
it's a fantastic, especially for a game like that. It's a fantastic.
I wouldn't finish the level. I would get to where I did everything. I would reset, and I would do it again. My wife commented, she's like, every time I see you playing this game, it's this level. And I'm like, I'm addicted to it. It's so much fantastic.
Fun. Yeah, it's unbelievable. That and the last level as well on the island is really, really well done.
Dishonored had some great. Dishonored was not an easy game to make levels for because of the flexibility of strategy.
No,
and stuff,
but they pull it off, especially in the bordello that you're talking about. Like it shows off exactly what that game needs to show off, which is like how you can go about solving this problem in different ways.
Cool game.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
We'll end on that. That's one of the saddest things about every game ever is I have so little time to revisit because there are more games to be played.
There are always more games to play.
Indeed.
So that's the end of Volume 3 of Every Game Ever podcast. Where can people find you, Danny, and Every Game Ever?
At Every Game Ever 10 on Twitter.
And Twitter, and is it the Scrivener on YouTube for the show?
Probably.
That's good.
Try the underscore, or it might just be the
You'll
Scrivener.
be able to find it. If you probably just Google
YouTube search Every Game Ever Vol, VOL, volume. You'll find it.
And that will find you. If you want to hear more from me, you can find me at GameEngineStart.com, at Game Engine Start on Twitter and YouTube. If you want more current and up-to-date coverage of video games, that's where I'll be. But for now, we will talk to you later. Goodbye.
Bye.